Stop, walk, wiggle, sit is a mindful activity I love to do with my students to get them moving a little bit, maybe get their heart rate going, stir up some emotions and feelings that are fun and exciting, maybe anticipating, and then we settle them down. So in order to play this, you can do this in any format. So if you are in a classroom, they can do it at their desk or standing behind their desk. You can do it out on the playground if you're out at recess, or you want to take them out just for a brain break. Or if you're teaching remotely and your students are all virtually tuning in, you can also do this activity. So it's a little fun brain break. It gets them moving. It's designed to really focus on core listening skills, self-regulation skills, and you can also weave in some social emotional learning to this as well. So to play the game, simply stop, walk, wiggle, sit are the first set of instructions. So I'm going to stand up and show you what I mean. So when I say stop, you just stop. Whatever you're doing, you just stop. When I say walk, you walk. So if you're inside, or if you're doing this remotely, or if you're not in a space where you can move around a lot, you can just walk in place. When I say wiggle, you just wiggle. And when I say sit, you sit. That's it for round one. So all I do is ask my students to follow the directions. When they hear me say stop, they stop. When they hear me say walk, they walk. When they hear me say wiggle, they wiggle. And when they hear me say sit, they sit. So that's the first round. Do it for a few minutes. Make sure that they are following the instructions. Make sure that they're doing what they need to be doing, that they're listening, that they're regulating themselves and keeping their bodies safe. And then you tell them, oh my gosh, you're doing an amazing job. I'm going to make it a little bit harder now, so we're going to stop. So the second round, you mix up two of them. So now when I say stop, I want you to walk. And when I say walk, I actually want you to stop. And when I say wiggle, I want you to wiggle. And when I say sit, I want you to sit. Now, another helpful tool in making sure that they understand the directions is ask them for the answers. So remind me, what do I want you to do when I say stop? And they should say walk. And what do I want you to do when I say walk? And hopefully they say stop. And what do I want you to do when I say wiggle? You wiggle. And what do I want you to do when I say sit? I want you to sit. Okay? So you just mix up two of those in that second round. It gets a little more challenging because they're like, oh gosh, she said stop and my brain wants to stop, but I'm supposed to be walking. So there's some processing that's involved in that. The third round, after you have thoroughly confused them with those two, is to mix all of them up. So the third round, stop means walk. And when I say walk, I want you to stop. When I say wiggle, I want you to sit. And when I say sit, I want you to wiggle. So this, again, is designed to be a little bit chaotic, but you can do it in one space. I've done this with children as young as preschoolers, 3 years old, so they're capable of doing it. And they're really curious and interested in following those directions. So I invite you to try that. How do you incorporate social emotional learning to that? Well, you ask them how they feel. How do you feel knowing that I'm going to play this game? How do you feel when you hear that I'm going to mix up some of the instructions? Get them talking about their feelings a little bit. Not only do they recognize how they're feeling, maybe a little bit nervous, maybe excited, maybe fearful even sometimes when you're doing something new. And they also recognize that other friends of theirs around them are having different feelings. So it shows them that they can have one feeling and that may or may not be shared by some of their peers. So an important learning lesson there. When I'm done with this, you can take as much time or as little time as you want with this activity, but always when I'm done, I like to reset them by connecting them to their breath. I have done this with a mask on, so they are capable of doing it with a mask on. Just have them count maybe 5 or 6 slow, purposeful breaths to settle themselves back down and allow them to re-engage with it, whatever learning you're going to continue from there on out. All right, so there it is, stop, walk, wiggle, sit. I hope it's a helpful activity for you. I would love to hear how it goes, so please place a comment below and let me know how it went for your classroom or your students. All right.